Imagine this: your relationships as the very architecture of your life, each one forming part of a larger structure that shelters your peace, your well-being, and your virtue. Yet, within this structure, some beams are rotten, some walls uneven, and some foundations weak. While we often overlook these cracks, they have the power to disrupt everything we hold dear: our clarity of mind, our moral compass, and our inner tranquility. What if I told you that Stoicism, an ancient philosophy on resilience, wisdom, and virtue, holds the keys to recognize these cracks and repair them? Or perhaps, in some cases, to remove these unstable elements entirely. Today, we're diving into the wisdom of Stoicism, exploring the 10 signs that indicate it may be time to cut all contact with someone. This isn't about severing ties out of bitterness or anger, but about cultivating a life aligned with peace, courage, and justice. Each sign we discuss will challenge you to reflect deeply, to ask yourself, does this relationship serve my pursuit of a virtuous life? Does it help me to become wiser, more resilient, and aligned with my true values? As we journey through these signs, stay with us until the end, where we'll explore the most transformative realization of all: a call to live a life anchored firmly in wisdom and peace, a life unshaken by unnecessary turmoil. Let's begin this journey into Stoic wisdom. 1. Abuse of any kind. A relationship marred by abuse, whether it be physical, emotional, or verbal, violates the very essence of human dignity and respect. Stoicism teaches us that each of us possesses an inner citadel, a core of peace, strength, and self-respect that must remain untouched by external forces. But abuse invades this citadel, breaking down the walls of tranquility and self-worth that are vital to a Stoic's path. Think about this. How does it feel when you're on the receiving end of harsh words, belittling comments, or even worse, actions that harm your body or mind? Abuse is more than a momentary lapse in respect. It is a persistent erosion of your dignity. In such cases, Stoicism does not ask us to endure silently. Instead, it calls us to protect this inner citadel with courage and clarity. Marcus Aurelius himself reflected on the importance of maintaining inner peace despite the behavior of others, but he never implied we should remain in environments that shatter that peace. When someone continually disrespects or harms you, they are stepping over the boundary of your self-respect and dignity. Stoic principles of justice, courage, and wisdom guide us to recognize when enough is enough. Are we staying out of fear, out of habit, or because we feel we have no other choice? The Stoic answer to abuse is clear and direct. One must set firm boundaries and, if necessary, sever ties to protect the sanctity of one's well-being. Abuse can appear in subtle forms too: words that undermine, looks that belittle, or tones that intimidate. This subtlety makes it all the more insidious, as it slowly chips away at the very foundation of one's sense of worth. Are you aware of how this treatment affects your sense of self? Abuse trains us to doubt ourselves, our perceptions, and ultimately, our value. But Stoicism reminds us that, like a garden choked by weeds, our minds and spirits cannot flourish when strangled by such negativity. Reflect on the time you may have spent rationalizing someone's mistreatment, thinking you could endure it out of strength, or that you owed them some forgiveness. Stoicism urges us to practice compassion and patience, yes, but not at the expense of our core integrity. Compassion is for those willing to meet us halfway, not for those who continually trespass upon our peace. When confronting abuse, Stoicism provides us with both a shield and a sword: the shield to protect our peace, and the sword to cut through relationships that harm our virtue and peace of mind. Embrace this strength within, this commitment to dignity, and take the necessary steps to distance yourself from those who fail to respect your value. As we transition to the next sign, remember, Protecting yourself from abuse is not a failure. It is the highest form of wisdom. It is a commitment to a life lived in alignment with the core values of justice, courage, and inner peace. 2. Lack of trust. Trust forms the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. Without it, a relationship is like a house on shifting sand, unstable, uncertain, and ultimately doomed to crumble. In Stoicism, trust aligns with the virtue of justice, for it requires both parties to act with honesty, reliability, and fairness. A lack of trust signifies that something vital is missing, that a fundamental ethical principle is being disregarded. Ask yourself, can you truly connect with someone you do not trust? Can you find peace and comfort in a relationship shadowed by doubts and suspicions? Stoicism teaches us to see things as they truly are, to face uncomfortable truths head-on rather than turning away. If trust is absent, we are asked to recognize this reality, to understand that a lack of trust clouds our minds and disrupts our tranquility. Think of times when you may have found yourself questioning someone's motives or actions repeatedly. Were you uneasy, always on guard, always wary of what might come next? Trust is the foundation of a serene mind, and without it, a Stoic cannot focus on living a life of virtue and inner peace. Instead, the mind is caught in a cycle of vigilance, anticipation, and self-protection. This is no way to live a balanced life. Reflect on the conversations that may feel incomplete, words unsaid, or promises left unfulfilled. When we are in relationships lacking trust, we are not just tolerating doubt, we are compromising our own peace and values. A Stoic path calls us to simplicity, to relationships that do not demand constant deciphering or interpretation. When there is no trust, every word or action becomes a question, every plan a source of potential disappointment. Is this the reality you want to live in? Are you willing to sacrifice clarity and peace in exchange for a relationship where trust does not exist? The Stoic answer, grounded in rationality and integrity, is to let go of relationships that rob us of our mental clarity. In situations where trust has been broken, it is often wiser to step back rather than force ourselves to rebuild something that may not have the strength to stand. A relationship lacking trust is a relationship that breeds resentment, doubt, and frustration. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urged us to question whether those we surround ourselves with share our values and respect our principles. A lack of trust tells us they may not. Rather than clinging to hope that the other person will change, Stoicism encourages us to examine our own actions and decisions, to take responsibility for choosing associations that align with our values of integrity, simplicity, and mutual respect. As we move on to the next sign, remember, trust is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And when it is missing, we must make a choice to cling to illusions or to pursue a life rooted in truth and unwavering peace. 3. Persistent manipulation. Manipulation is a silent thief, eroding your ability to see things clearly and make decisions based on truth. In the realm of Stoicism, clarity and authenticity are paramount, virtues that allow us to live in harmony with our true selves and the world around us. When someone manipulates you, they distort reality, reshaping it to serve their own needs and wants, often at your expense. Pause and ask yourself, are you constantly second-guessing your choices, feeling pressured to act against your better judgment? Stoicism reminds us that each individual is responsible for their own mind, for aligning their thoughts and actions with reason and virtue. Persistent manipulation, however, clouds this alignment. It disrupts your peace of mind, pulling you away from the Stoic goal of living with clarity and purpose. Think of the subtle tactics manipulation can take: the guilt trips, the skewed stories, the twisting of reality. Do you find yourself questioning your memories or doubting your perceptions in ways you never did before? Manipulation is insidious, and often it starts so subtly that we hardly notice until we are deeply entangled. A Stoic's pursuit is to see things as they are, without illusions or unnecessary judgments. Yet, manipulation blinds us, obstructing our ability to perceive the world accurately. Consider how this dynamic affects your interactions with this person. Are their words laced with insinuations? Do you feel you must constantly justify yourself, as if you are always at fault? These are markers of manipulation, tactics that aim to control rather than connect. The Stoic path calls for relationships based on mutual respect and autonomy, not those that bind us in webs of deceit and control. You may feel a sense of duty to endure or forgive, thinking that these efforts will somehow resolve the situation. But Stoicism doesn't teach endurance at the cost of one's own peace and virtue. Instead, it encourages us to recognize harmful dynamics with courage and to act wisely in response. Manipulation disrupts your ability to live a reasoned life, free of undue influence. Walking away is not a failure of compassion or understanding. It is an assertion of your right to clarity and inner freedom. As we move toward the next sign, let us remember, manipulation has no place in a life governed by reason and integrity. Recognizing it for what it is allows us to step away with wisdom, preserving our peace and our path to virtue. 4. Constantly feeling drained. In any healthy relationship, the exchange of energy should feel balanced and revitalizing, not exhausting and depleting. Stoicism teaches us the importance of preserving our internal resources, using our energy wisely, and avoiding relationships that drain us beyond recovery. Ask yourself, after spending time with this person, do you feel uplifted or worn out? Does their presence fuel your vitality, or does it feel like they are drawing from it? A Stoic values calmness and self-preservation, qualities essential to enduring life's challenges with resilience and dignity. When someone consistently saps your energy, it signifies a serious imbalance, one that is not conducive to Stoic harmony. Perhaps you notice feelings of dread before your interactions, or a heavy sense of exhaustion afterward. Do you find yourself mentally preparing for each conversation as if gearing up for a test of endurance? These are signals that the relationship might be taking more than it gives. In Stoicism, our energy is not infinite. It must be carefully managed, preserved for our higher pursuits of wisdom and virtue. Consider the reason behind this draining effect. Is it a lack of mutual support? A sense of one-sided obligation? Perhaps the other person's constant negativity weighs on you, filling your mind with concerns and anxieties that are not your own. In such cases, Stoic wisdom teaches us to recognize these patterns and to question whether they serve our purpose of living a peaceful and productive life. Some relationships are simply mismatched, demanding more than we can or should give. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we must be kind, but we must also be firm with ourselves, setting boundaries where they are needed. Distancing ourselves from those who drain us does not mean we have failed in compassion. It means we respect our own well-being, recognizing that only with inner strength can we fully engage with the world. As we move to the next sign, remember, feeling drained is a call for self-reflection and action. Preserve your energy and let go of those who continuously deplete it as a path to a life of genuine vitality and resilience. 5. Negative impact on mental health. Our mental state is the core of our well-being, and Stoicism places great importance on maintaining inner tranquility, or ataraxia, a calm and undisturbed mind. When a relationship consistently disrupts this peace, causing stress, anxiety, or sadness, it's a sign that the connection may be doing more harm than good. Reflect for a moment. Do you feel a sense of dread or unease around this person? Are you often left feeling anxious, inadequate, or mentally exhausted? Stoicism teaches us to be resilient, yes, but not at the expense of our peace of mind. The Stoic practice of observing our emotions without being controlled by them is vital. Yet, when a relationship persistently induces negativity, it becomes a burden on our mental health rather than a source of companionship or growth. Consider the lasting effects of this relationship on your mind. Does it weigh on you after each interaction, consuming thoughts and time that could be spent more productively? Stoicism advises us to examine such mental disturbances, not merely to endure them blindly. A Stoic doesn't avoid challenges, but they do recognize when something external has grown too disruptive, too draining on the soul's peace. In relationships that erode our mental health, we might find ourselves constantly questioning, doubting, or analyzing the other person's actions, often at the cost of our clarity and well-being. Are these feelings conducive to a life of virtue, or are they distractions that pull us away from a centered, grounded state? Our minds, much like gardens, need to be free from weeds that choke the growth of tranquility and wisdom. Constant mental strain from a relationship is akin to allowing weeds to overrun this garden. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our greatest asset is a mind free from turmoil, capable of focusing on what truly matters. Relationships that consistently disturb this focus prevent us from reaching our potential. You may feel compelled to endure, thinking it a show of strength, but enduring at the cost of one's peace is not the Stoic way. Instead, a wise decision to distance oneself is an act of courage and self-respect, a step toward a life of stability and genuine joy. As we prepare to discuss the next sign, remember, protecting your mental health is a cornerstone of the Stoic pursuit of a tranquil life. Recognize when a relationship no longer serves this purpose and release yourself from its grasp. 6. Disregard for personal needs. Respect for personal needs and boundaries forms the bedrock of any balanced, respectful relationship. When someone consistently ignores or trivializes your needs, it signals a lack of mutual respect and understanding. Stoicism teaches us that while we must cultivate resilience and patience, we must also honor our needs, for they are an essential part of maintaining our harmony and self-respect. Ask yourself, are your needs repeatedly ignored or dismissed? Are your boundaries disrespected, leaving you feeling overlooked or devalued? In Stoic thought, setting boundaries is not a selfish act. It is an act of self-respect, a commitment to protecting one's peace and dignity. Relationships that fail to acknowledge these needs are not aligned with a Stoic life centered on mutual respect and balance. Consider the moments when you have expressed your needs, only to be met with dismissal or neglect. How does that make you feel? Stoicism guides us to communicate openly and to set boundaries that protect our tranquility. Yet when these efforts are met with disregard, it's a sign that the other person may not value your well-being. Maintaining a relationship with someone who consistently disregards your needs disrupts the harmony essential to Stoic living, reducing your ability to focus on growth and wisdom. In relationships where boundaries are ignored, we often find ourselves compromising more than is healthy, bending and reshaping our needs to fit the other person's expectations. Is this the Stoic way? Certainly not. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches us to recognize our worth, to protect it, and not to trade it away for temporary acceptance or superficial peace. Upholding your needs is not selfish. It is an acknowledgement of your right to live a life guided by reason and virtue. When someone fails to respect your needs consistently, it becomes a source of stress and diminishment. True Stoic relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, where both individuals honor each other's boundaries as a form of justice and kindness. In moving forward, remember that honoring your personal needs is a vital part of maintaining the balance necessary for a life of inner peace. As we explore the next sign, let's remember, your needs are valid, and any relationship that cannot respect them is one that may not belong in your life. 7. Persistent, selfish behavior. In the philosophy of Stoicism, relationships are arenas in which we practice virtues like generosity, fairness, and reciprocity. A relationship steeped in persistent, selfish behavior, where one party continually prioritizes their own needs over the others, stands in direct contradiction to these Stoic values. The imbalance that arises when one person takes far more than they give not only strains the relationship, but also hinders each person's moral and personal growth. Reflect for a moment. Does the relationship feel one-sided? Are your contributions and sacrifices often overlooked, while their demands and needs take precedence? Stoicism reminds us that virtue lies in balance and self-control, and in relationships, this means each person must consider the well-being of the other as equal to their own. A Stoic aims to live with justice and fairness, but these values cannot flourish in a relationship tainted by selfishness. Think about the resentment that may quietly build when one person consistently places their needs first. Does it not feel as though the relationship has become a burden rather than a source of support? This resentment signals that the equilibrium necessary for a healthy connection is missing, replaced by frustration and dissatisfaction. Stoicism advises us to practice forgiveness and understanding, but it does not require us to accept a relationship that disregards balance and respect. If you find yourself constantly accommodating, often at the cost of your own needs and goals, ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow as a person, or is it restraining me? Are you able to speak openly about your feelings, or do you hesitate, fearing that your concerns will be dismissed? The Stoic approach to relationships calls for honesty and mutual benefit, a connection where both individuals can pursue personal growth and wisdom together. Selfish behavior erodes this connection, pulling the relationship out of alignment with Stoic ideals. When persistent selfishness becomes a recurring theme, it's often a sign that efforts to restore balance are unlikely to succeed. The wise Stoic does not remain indefinitely in situations that continuously challenge their well-being without reciprocation. To distance oneself from such a relationship is not an act of bitterness or defeat, but a conscious choice to uphold one's own values of fairness, respect, and inner peace. As we transition to the next sign, remember, a relationship rooted in reciprocity nurtures your journey, while one marked by persistent selfishness only hinders it. Recognizing this difference is essential to living a Stoic life aligned with virtue. 8. Destructive communication. In the Stoic philosophy, the virtues of wisdom, justice, and kindness extend into how we communicate. A healthy relationship is marked by honest, constructive, and uplifting communication, where words serve to bridge understanding and reinforce trust. Destructive communication, however, filled with criticism, sarcasm, or belittling, corrodes these pillars, undermining respect and harmony. Consider your recent conversations with this person. Are they laden with negativity? Do you feel anxious or defensive, anticipating hurtful comments or dismissive remarks? Stoicism encourages us to use our words thoughtfully, to communicate with the intent of clarity and compassion. But when dialogue turns into a battlefield, it signals that the relationship has deviated from a path of respect and rational discourse. Ask yourself, is this person willing to listen, to engage constructively, or does every conversation seem like an opportunity for criticism? Constant negativity doesn't just cause immediate pain, it transforms the way you perceive yourself and the relationship. The Stoic view of relationships is one that promotes growth and understanding, not one where words are wielded as weapons, tearing down rather than building up. In situations where communication is destructive, Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our own reactions and responses. Are we contributing to the conflict, or are we maintaining our commitment to kindness and reason? When we approach conversations with respect but are met with hostility, Stoicism advises us to take steps to protect our tranquility. Sometimes, this means disengaging from conversations that are inherently harmful. If you have tried to steer the dialogue toward positivity and resolution, but have met with resistance, it may be time to question the relationship's place in your life. Destructive communication is more than a source of temporary pain. It disrupts the Stoic goals of wisdom, harmony, and inner calm. Distance, in such cases, can be a way to preserve your peace and uphold your values. As we proceed to the next sign, keep in mind, true communication supports our journey, while destructive patterns only impede it. Choose relationships that foster a calm, constructive environment, where words are used to uplift rather than harm. 9. Absence of growth or mutual support. In Stoicism, personal and moral growth are not just encouraged, they are essential to the philosophy's teachings on how to live a good life. Stoic thinkers like Seneca and Epictetus taught that life is a continuous opportunity for self-improvement and wisdom, emphasizing the importance of relationships that support and challenge us on this journey. When a relationship lacks growth or mutual support, it becomes more than a hindrance. It stagnates our potential to become our best selves. Ask yourself, do you feel inspired and supported in this relationship, or do you feel held back as though your growth is unimportant or irrelevant to the other person? Stoic relationships are cooperative, where both individuals contribute to each other's pursuit of virtue and understanding. When this mutual support is absent, it contradicts the Stoic ideal of a relationship grounded in shared values and goals. Consider how this relationship has impacted your journey toward wisdom and self-betterment. Are you encouraged to become a stronger, more virtuous person, or is there an indifference toward your progress? When we find ourselves in relationships that lack growth, it can feel like being anchored in place, watching others move forward while we remain stagnant. The Stoics teach us that we must choose associations that elevate our minds, not ones that hold us back. In a relationship where there is no mutual support, we often feel isolated in our challenges, lacking the shared perspective and encouragement that a true Stoic connection would provide. Are your goals and dreams met with understanding and encouragement, or are they dismissed as trivial? Stoicism values the presence of synergia or cooperative spirit, where each person strives not only to improve themselves, but to aid the other in doing the same. Without this synergy, the relationship falls short of Stoic ideals. Reflect on whether you have communicated your desire for growth within this relationship. Have you expressed your need for support and encouragement, or are you silently hoping the other person will notice? Stoicism advises us to act with reason and assert our values openly. When there is no response, or the other person is unwilling to share in this journey, the wise course may be to distance ourselves, seeking connections that align more closely with our pursuit of wisdom and tranquility. As we move toward the final sign, remember, a relationship that hinders growth is one that conflicts with the Stoic pursuit of a virtuous life. Choose connections that uplift you, that support your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. 10. Misaligned core values. Our core values are like a compass, guiding us through the complexities of life, helping us make decisions that reflect who we are and what we stand for. When these fundamental beliefs and values clash with those of someone close to us, it can lead to profound internal conflict. In Stoicism, harmony and personal integrity are paramount, and relationships that consistently clash with our core values disrupt this harmony. Reflect, Do you feel that your principles and ethics are fundamentally different from theirs? Do these differences create friction, making it difficult for you to live according to your beliefs? Stoicism places immense value on living a life of virtue in accordance with our core principles. When someone close to us lives by values that conflict with our own, it becomes a persistent challenge, one that can erode our inner peace. Consider, for example, the value of honesty. If honesty is central to who you are, but someone close to you often bends the truth, how does that impact the relationship? Over time, these differences can create a rift, a lingering discomfort that keeps us from experiencing true tranquility. The Stoics believe that surrounding ourselves with people who share our values allows us to live more consistently with virtue and clarity. In relationships marked by such misalignments, it's natural to feel pressured to compromise on your values. Perhaps you find yourself excusing behavior that goes against your principles or remaining silent to keep the peace. Stoicism teaches that inner harmony is achieved not by suppressing these conflicts, but by recognizing them and acting with integrity. Are you willing to live with this dissonance? Or is it time to consider that some relationships may not be aligned with your journey toward virtue? Addressing these misaligned values does not mean judging the other person as wrong. Instead, it's about understanding that not every relationship serves the higher purpose of your personal and ethical development. Stoicism encourages us to choose our relationships carefully, to seek those who encourage our growth and align with our core beliefs. When these values are incompatible, parting ways may be necessary to maintain a life of harmony and peace. As we reach the end of this journey through the Stoic perspective on relationships, let us remember, preserving our values and principles is essential to a life well lived. Relationships built on misaligned values are unlikely to provide the support and harmony we seek. In our journey through these 10 signs, we have explored how Stoicism teaches us to approach relationships thoughtfully, with an eye toward preserving our inner peace, integrity, and commitment to virtue. Each sign challenges us to examine our relationships with clarity and courage, to recognize when certain connections no longer serve the life we wish to lead. Let us remember that Stoicism encourages us to surround ourselves with individuals who support our path toward wisdom, courage, and tranquility. Relationships should be spaces of mutual respect, growth, and encouragement, not sources of constant turmoil, doubt, or conflict. As we close, consider this a moment of reflection. Are the people in your life supporting your journey, or are they hindering it? Remember, true strength lies not in enduring what harms us, but in having the wisdom and courage to walk away. If you found this journey insightful, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with others who may find guidance in these Stoic insights. Thank you for being here, and may your relationships be filled with wisdom, harmony, and growth.